You know. We'll start that. I was hoping it was a short version of the eulogy. But first thing I want to say is, can we get a panelist a round of applause? This has been phenomenal. I mean, the more you talk, the more I looked at our health officer, Pam Creekmer, and the more she was writing and telling me, say, listen, I'm on it. And can we do that? Can we give Pam Creekmer a round of applause, our health officer? I know you're about to go into a break, and I'm not going to be long. I know we have elected officials here. I'm glad to have, we have Delegate Angela Angel. Can we give her a round of applause? And the great Susie Proctor from this district, Delegate Proctor, whose husband I serve with, and my good friend who we served in many capacities. When I first went to the legislature, he was working with WSSC and keeping me out of trouble on minority business issues. Then he went to the council where he chaired the council, and now he's in the House of Delegates, Tony Knotts. Can we give him a round of applause? Jamila, where did she sneak off to? Back in, can we give her a round of applause? Yes. And I'm going to go completely from my notes, which if you know me, that it never happens. I'm like always on the notes. But can you give yourselves a round of applause, please? And I say that, and I say how impressed we are, not tongue-in-cheek. I'll give you try to do two quick stories. One that's personal. When I was running for county executive for the third time, so that means I need a lot of counseling. It's a good thing Howard provided counseling. When I was running for the third time, and we were about to kick off the campaign, we were coming into the 2010 season. And so I remember it was one of the first events that we were having in the campaign where they were actually bringing the candidates together. And, thank you. And, that's right. And during that time, the morning before the event, I had, my wife was having some issues with her memory. And so I had taken her to the doctor that morning, as I had done probably for the previous 2 years, just trying to make sure we were on it, because we were fortunate enough to have friends of ours who were doctors and nurses and very good at, keeping us, in front of health practitioners. Anyway, so a typical morning, went there. They ran through these battery of tests. The difference was this morning, she didn't pass the battery of tests. Battery of tests that they give for memory was basically the name of her children and their date of birth. She knew the names of her children, but she could not give the date of birth of her children. She could not tell them what program she had watched that morning. And there began the journey that we continue today. I bring it up because one of the first things that we had a conversation outside of the family, because our first reaction was, what do we do as a family? But as a campaign, it became a conversation of, from several members, oh my God. Not, oh my God, my wife and I and this family were going down a journey that we're still on. But oh my God, what will Black people say about her condition? True story, actual thought. We tried to find examples of other elected officials who have run for office whose spouse had what we call mental issues. Not that this was a disease, that she had nothing to do, that she didn't do anything wrong, it happened. And more importantly, it's something that we should be talking about. But the issue centered around African Americans and mental health. And how afraid we are to deal with mental health issues. How afraid we are to talk about mental health issues. So fast forward. I win. And we started to talk about, quite honestly, two things happened that I think are significant for me as county executive and for this county and where we've gone. The first is, once this happened to our family, it made me think differently, not only about access to quality health, but access to quality mental health.
Amen. Amen.
Because if I had to make a decision as to whether I was going to pursue a career because of an issue in my family, how many people, and I have resources, even without being county executive, how many other people make decisions about what they do based on their ability to have access and issues with mental health? So one, it made me aware of that. The other thing was, and this was purely my children, and I say this as we're coming up on Alzheimer's Month. We reached a point where clearly it was no longer, you weren't going to be able to tell there was something there was something wrong. And it became a decision for us as a family as to whether you say that. And once again, it was a discussion around African Americans' perception of people who have mental health issues and how that impacts them, especially if you're in the public eye. My, philosophy was, at that time, like a lot of people who are dealing with family issues, was to get mad and say, it's nobody's business but mine. My children, who had a better philosophy, was, you know what, we need to talk about this. You're in a position where people can see it, and to get it out front, and we're not ashamed of mommy. So it allowed me to think differently about how you talk about things that are going on in our community and how important mental health is. The other thing, from a county perspective, we know that the critical issues facing us as elected officials are, for this county, it's education, public safety. And if you look at people's pamphlets when they're running for office, it's usually education, public safety, economic development. Those are the things that people run on. They talk about. Those are the critical issues. What we found when we got into office was you could not deal with the first two issues unless you dealt with health. The problems we found in our education system with our young people and families were based around a lot of it mental health. The problem we have found with public safety was based around access to quality health and mostly access to quality mental health. So how are you going to deal with changing those two dynamics without elevating health, and especially mental health and quality mental health in the African American community in Prince George's County without dealing with it? So we changed the dynamics. We made it public safety, education, health. Right, Pam?
That's right.
That's right. We spend a lot of our time looking at it. In fact, if you look at Prince George's County, one of the things I'm most proud of is we have what we call our Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative, where we looked at 6 of our neighborhoods in areas in Prince George's County where all the indicators were going in the wrong direction. Normally you look at crime statistics or dropout rates, but we looked at health, access to health, and access to mental health. I bring all that up because, as I close, the importance of this conference, the importance of you being in the room today and understanding that if we're going to change the dynamics of not only Prince George's County and the state of Maryland, the Washington region, or the United States, part of it is you have to have an open and honest dialogue about the state of mental health in the African American community. The thing that we've learned is we can have all the clinicians we want in our government. We can have all the programs we want in our government. Especially African American and Latino community are not going to come to us and say, guess what? I need you to talk to my child in 2nd grade or kindergarten because we think there's some things going wrong. Or I need you to talk to them because there are family issues. Like with us, my daughter was still in high school when we started down this journey with my wife and I and our family. Her teacher said, "There's something different in your family, isn't it?" And I said, "Well, why do you say that?" She said, "Because the work she used to turn in, she's not."
Wow, wow.
And we immediately corrected. But what other families say, "Okay, I'm going to get on them. You need to turn your work in." No, the answer is not you need to turn your work in. The answer is I need to get you help.
There you go.
Because talking to me while I'm going through it too, because I need help. And so that is why this is so important. Because the faith community is really where people turn. It's where I turn. It's where most people turn. And having the ability to combine what goes on in the faith community with professional help, and those who have, and we do have mega churches here in Prince George's County that have access in-house, but more importantly, what we want to do is be able to have that, let to know what we have available in our government. But we can't do it, just by me simply saying, as county executive, I so order. Because people are looking like, well, I'm not going to go tell the county executive that, I think I need to talk to somebody. But they will talk to you. And conferences like this, one, make it easier for people to get out of the shadow. That is not, something to be ashamed of. It's fixable. It's treatable. It can change lives. So imagine how many young people whose lives are disrupted because of issues around mental health that could have been helped. That's the thing that drives us to make the changes that we've made, and that's why I'm so glad you're doing this, and you've got great panelists and great information, and God bless you for doing it. Thank you.